Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Peace Talk. This is the Peace Dealer. Um, Peace Talk, of course, is a series where I'm able to interview and profile other personalities and spiritualists. This episode, we got the good man, Sage. What's good, bro?
Doing all right, man. How about you?
I'm cool, not gonna lie. Recently woke up a couple minutes or hours ago, but
Yeah. I feel you.
yeah, it's other than that, I'm feeling good. The moon's in Gemini, so it's definitely
Okay.
things hopping up. Where are you based in?
I'm in LA, here in Hollywood. I don't know if I kind of gave you like kind of the spiel, but I've been here in LA since when was that? That was like 2016, but originally I'm from New York, Long Island.
Oh, you're from Long Island. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
So from where?
is that where you're born? New York?
Yeah, originally born on Long Island, and I was there for the majority of my life up until what was it, 18, and once I hit 18 I was gone, man. Like two days after I graduated high school I was in college.
Word. And you did college in LA?
No, I did college in Florida.
Or
Then I went back to New York, worked in film production at the same time while I was doing that. Then I had like a few. I went to like a total over time like 5 schools, but I think two of those were online.
nice. Okay. And what did you study while you're in college?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What did you study while you were in school? What did
Oh,
you
mainly, yeah. At first, it was film production. That was my main go-to because I was always about film until I decided to work in film. Had an internship early on, but I decided to like go back to New York from Florida after 2 semesters, work in film while I was going to school, and then at some point it switched over to like politics. Um, some of that was like what was it? Like communications, public affairs. You start switching up, trying to really find that groove of life.
That's true. Nice.
Yeah.
So that's really dope.
It.
How do you like
Yeah.
LA versus the East Coast? Any differences that stick out to you?
Like LA.
Oh, my bad. How do you like LA versus the East Coast? Any
Okay. Oh, that's a good question. 'Cause people will talk about that, and it's almost like a little bit of like a feud. It's like one coast is better than the other,
yeah.
But in my opinion, it's about the vibe, and my vibe is definitely more west, more west. It's definitely further west. I would say I love LA. Coming out here, it seemed as if it was paradise. This whole side of California, the palm trees, the weather, just the beaches, the way people are, the flow versus New York. I guess for me primarily, right? Like my life had been much harder. It was always kind of like a striving for something else, like one another piece of life. And I had friends that had that aspect of life that I was more favored towards, but at the same time, I didn't really get to capture that for myself until I came here to LA. And even still coming to LA, I mean, at first I had no plan. So I was homeless for almost a year.
Wow.
I just, I was, yeah, I was still figuring it out. You wouldn't have even had known that I was homeless because I was still hustling, still doing what I had to do, create something. Um, but then coming out here and just seeing things fall into place, I love it. I love this whole side. Just the vibe is just it's just different. I almost don't even know how to explain it. Have you been here yet?
I've been here. I've been there 2014 in like LA. Yeah,
2014.
yeah. I was out there
Yeah. You can,
2014 maybe like for a few months in like Koreatown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what were you doing out here?
I was living out here. I was doing some background acting, and my sister,
Yeah.
so we were staying together. We were, well, I had her stay in my apartment, but we were in Wilshire and Normandy, Koreatown.
Yeah, I know exactly where that is. I know exactly where that is, man.
Nice.
You said you were staying out here with who? Who were you out here with?
I was out here by myself, and then my sister brought her roomie, and then we were all staying together for a bit.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you had some support.
Yeah, yeah. She had been staying out here for a while, so she got me introduced to like background acting and what I can do, and how that scene works and everything. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, she put you on a little bit, helped you out, right?
Yeah, let me know as far as that's concerned, like how to apply to the stuff and at least get
Yeah.
started there. But yeah, I agree. I've been in the East Coast when I was younger. I would say I like
Uh-huh.
I would say I like the West Coast vibe a bit. That peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah.
The East Coast is definitely I sense more cold and fast paced, but I haven't been there.
Yeah.
So when's the last time you were in New York?
Where are you at now?
Oh, now I'm in Vegas. Now I'm in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay, cool. You like it out there?
Honestly, I'm just grateful to be around. But yeah, I do. I think I'm coming here from El Paso, which is like a small town next to Mexico. It's grown a lot more compared to when I was there in 2009. It's a lot different. So that's really cool. I like being out here in Vegas though. There's just so many different people you get to meet, and like I just like being around tourist spots. It's a Gemini in me. But
Yeah, I feel you.
yeah. When was the last time you were
Yeah,
in?
and it's a good so last time I was in New York?
Yeah.
Oh man. 2015 maybe? Yeah, that was 2015. I'm pretty sure it was 2015. I remember I had just left the Midwest because I was staying in South Dakota. I was stationed out there with the Air Force until I got out of the military. And then I went through a really hard time, like transitioning through that, going through divorce. Like, I mean, everything that everything that I, like destroyed. I went through like fucking hell, right? But I remember I went back to New York for maybe like 2 weeks. I had a buddy. We kind of like traveled up and down the coast a little bit, doing things like with Subway restaurants. We were doing some of their like regional stuff. So we were like touring pretty much. But I remember being in New York, and I just had that feeling of like, I think I'm supposed to stay here. I think I'm like supposed to, like, you just, you whole thing of like, you come out of the military and you go back home, you gotta, and then like life just happens. But I knew I needed to do something else. So I remember I was there for a little while over that summer, and then that was it. Like, I haven't been back since. I went to stay with my dad in North Carolina for a little while. And eventually I ended up, like, I had a job that I walked out of and like never turned back. I just kept moving forward. I said, I'm going to the dream. That was it. It just took off.
And how I'm glad you touched up on two things as far as like your marriage and the military. If you don't mind us discussing those, what was the military experience for you? Like, how was that in your perspective?
Yeah. I'll say this. I remember, like, going in, I had very pure, strong intentions of like serving a global purpose. My mantra going in, I remember the thing that I had that was in my mind was that I want to serve a purpose globally. I don't know what it is, but I know that I want to impact like the world. I want to create a change. I want to see things be more peaceful. But I remember like just seeing that it worked out a different way, that the world in truth wasn't it wasn't the projection that we normally see on TV. Like things don't work that way. The truth is far from the things that that we're told. I guess like in our general lives, it's like you kind of have to lift the veil before you can really see the truth. But my experience was like I was a high performer. I got ranked up early. I get all these awards. Even on my deployment, I was like always designing things. I got awarded for like designing some new entry points and stuff like that. I was always like trying to put myself ahead of the game. Super ambitious. Until yeah, it was until like the whole like the floor kind of just like fell out for me when I saw that the change I was looking to create wasn't going to happen in that way. Like the model of how I was going about it, like you know, doing good, being better, the whole bureaucracy wasn't it. Um, so yeah, so I remember like I remember just having that feeling of like, well, I'll tell you this, right? I had a counselor that I went to go see while I was military, and he had worked in law enforcement, for which me in the military, the job I had was very similar. I was security forces, which you do so many things. But I remember this guy, he tells me, he's like, sometimes you go through things to find out so much about what you don't want to do so that you can be led the direction that you want to go. And I was like, okay, yeah, that was like the one point where it just kind of like, it kind of clicked. And I was like, I want nothing to do with anything I'm doing right now. Cause it sucked. Like like to go through life where I felt as if like I didn't have any purpose and nothing that I was doing was really impacting anyone other than like, say, like a schedule and an agenda, the day to day. I was like, okay, so now I got to figure out what else I'm really into, and then that's when to get into the more spiritual side of it. A lot of the a lot of like the intuitive hits started coming in. Like the world started changing, started pushing me in a different direction, which meant that everything else had to, and it did in like the worst way. But now I'm like entirely humbled and grateful for it because never would I turn my back to go the other direction.
I'm so glad I asked that. So based on your experience, what advice would you give to someone who wants to join the military, or would you advise it for someone entirely?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I answer this question a lot too, because I guess I'm kind of like drawn to that energy to where people who are looking for something will generally find that to be an avenue, to go somewhere. And then it's not until you get in the military that you know what the military is truly about. And it's like, okay, it's like what am I doing? Like, why am I here? Like, what purpose am I really serving? And that is for some people versus like, let's say someone who wants to go in, someone who is thinking about that as a decision about what they may or may not want to do. Because they're thinking about it and they're not quite sure, they're on the fence, I would generally give them the advice to explore their options, but not with like just the military, because most people, especially recruiters, they'll say, okay, well, what job do you want to do? And then they're going through their different, like they call them AFSCs, like the specialties. They're going through their different specialties and they're all different jobs, yet you're still in the military. You're still abiding to a code that is outside yourself. And when I say outside yourself, I mean like it's far outside of ourselves, because you have to conform to the fucking %, right? Versus like people who really, you could see it in them. You could see the people who are really gung ho about doing that thing. I want to go in the military. I want to do this. I want to be this. I want to be that. Those are the people where I'll go ahead and go for it, because that's for them. Like that's what their life is really calling them to go to and through.
Yeah. That's a really good question. That's a really good answer. So it's basically if it's something that they're really wanting to do, then they should definitely go for it. If not, they're better basically taking their chances. Somebody said, Persnickety Vagabond said, no love and creativity in the military. Would you say that?
Yeah. Oh, phew. The military is cold. Because I'm a creator. Like I've always been my entire life a creative person until I had set that aside in order to become that other thing. And like when I was like creating all these different designs for like what they call them ECPs, their entry control points, or like trying to like do something in a different way, immediately shut down. As opposed to the entry control point thing, I still had to abide by the laws, so that was allowed to go through. But anything creative had no expression. Like, and if you are someone who is of creative expression, in order to be your ultimate creative self, like the military is not the avenue for that, because it is it is a very cold place, to where you have to conform, and anything outside of that conformity gets squashed. Like I had even gone vegan for a while. I was vegan for about 6 months in the military. Yeah, and that's hard to do in my job because we would be eating MREs a lot of times. Or like if you're on post, you have to bring your food, so that's easier. But when I was vegan, I got so much feedback about how that was the wrong thing to do, how it was weird. Um, it caused me to go in the opposite direction because, for one, it was tough to do vegan in the military, and then two, I had so much like shit for it. People were always trying to give me like something to say when I had never even asked them.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it's
that
hard to be different in the military.
and I mean that was before veganism really was popular like it is now. So I can only imagine
Oh yeah,
how different.
oof, it was tough. Yeah, and that was in the Midwest too. So those people like in the Midwest, they're really about like hunting and like like they go out there, kill their meat, eat the heart, hang it, let it drip. And that's far outside of what I want to do.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So for those who are interested, what's your zodiac sign?
Capricorn.
So you are a Capricorn. I was going to ask, but I should have trusted my intuition.
Yeah.
Do you know your moon sign, perhaps?
I don't even know. Like I remember, um, I got into astrology like for a while, right? I went to like the birth time, I was doing the North Node, everything. Um, but then after a while, I remember because a lot of this stuff just kind of comes through intuition when I get into like my connection to that source. And then I just got a lot of information that kind of sprawled my experience throughout all of the signs. Because for me, like I kind of had to, otherwise the whole Capricorn entity was going to destroy me. I was so ambitious that it was like that it was like like all work, like literally all work, like no play. Like I remember, even up until the fall, this past autumn, there were like days, like I would go 4 days without sleeping and just going on the computer, designing websites, figuring out what I'm going to say next. And like, that was kind of like my program that I was running for a couple of years. And it was exhausting.
What keyed me off to you being a Capricorn was when you said, one, when you said that you were ready to just fully go all in with the military and like be of service, and then two, when you were saying that you went through that period
Yeah.
where things just kind of broke down, and I immediately thought of Pluto entering Capricorn 2008, and I figured that might have been.
Ah,
When was your birthday?
oh, January 7th.
January
January
7th.
7th.
Nice.
Yeah. So I remember,
So you're
yeah,
17.
like, what's that?
What year, if you don't mind my asking?
Yeah, 84.
It's a dope generation.
Yeah.
So your
Yeah,
moon,
it would have been, I'm
January.
sorry, it keeps cutting out.
No, you're straight. January 7th, 1984 puts your moon in the sign of Pisces.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm sorry, I didn't ask if you don't mind if I share your chart. So
Nah,
here's
you
like
good, man. You good.
here's like a quick chart interpretation. So your sun's here in Capricorn. Depending on your time of birth, which is cool for now, your moon's gonna be in this sign of Pisces. So that actually gives you, no wonder your soul is definitely one of great creativity and divinity, where you could probably feel into the vibrations of a room very sensitively. Usually Pisces moons would go have a sensitive diet or be a vegan because it's like you can feel into the life force of everything. But it's
Yeah.
which is profound. I mean, that's really a huge deal. And you know, you have your Saturn in Scorpio, so you've had your Saturn term, but I mean that puts you in a generation of intense karmic lessons because you know when you deal with stuff extremely, it has to be like at its most intense. Well, it doesn't have to be, but the key here is what I love about the '84 generation is y'all are part of this North Node in Gemini, and you have all this Sagittarius energy. So you're super magical. Now I love how. Now I respect so much more that your website is called Literally Magic because you are very magical. Yeah, like it's not something.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, it's I could definitely say you're the real deal if that. I mean Jupiter, Neptune, and Uranus and Venus and such. So you're definitely very creative. You're someone who's here to show people. You have all the gifts here too when it comes to showing people the meaning, their true magic essence, and really, you know, creating joy. But this North Node Gemini is one of my favorite aspects. Everyone that I've seen with it, what's his name? I know the Christian rapper Bizzle has it. I know Pollard, I think his name is Mike
I haven't
Pollard.
heard of him.
No, his name isn't Mike Pollard. Is this one it's this one dude. Oh, hold on. To read. All right, I completely forgot his name. It's just this one dude who likes to speak the truth. But that North Node and Gemini generation is awesome because y'all are about the truth. Like y'all are just here to speak the truth. It's like a militant kind of vibe too, where it's like you guys need to. It's not this
Yeah.
whole wake up thing, but it's like, yo, here's the truth. What's up with y'all? Like we need to wake up. Like, we need to go through and it's just a really good eye opener that y'all bring, which is really great. And then with that Terrace energy, like you could show us what we need to see too, which is like super awesome. But yeah,
that's a lot of what I got too. That's a lot of what I get like intuitively. It was like more like, you know, like the world that I am, right? The eyes that I see through and the thing that is being created here, it has to be created because it, you know, just like for us all in some aspects, but it doesn't quite exist. Like it's another perspective through the lens. And I kind of like had it like punched into my chest that I had to, you know, go about speaking of these things that were just needing to be expressed and needing to come out. So it's been like I don't want to say at first it was a job. At first it was kind of like figuring out how do I deliver this message, but then it's just like the wheels were spinning and finally I caught traction, you know?
super nice. Yeah, that really gives great perspective. I hold Pisces moons really high because of that's like the divine soul to me. So it much respect you being a creator. Pisces is that ultimate creator once again too. But all the Sagittarius energy you have, the Jupiter return you're coming through, that's going to be really cool. We look forward to seeing what you might create or produce. Very fun.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to magic, what does magic mean to you? Let's get into that as far as
Yeah. Cool. Good question. Well, for me, let's say magic is like this. It's the experience. It's like you and I speaking, right? It's the colors. It's the vibration of the tone of our voices, the tone of like the atmosphere. It's all of these things that both have a foundation and they don't, you know, because there's something higher, there's something lower. So we wonder like where do all these things come from? And the magic itself is it's like the magic is both it's the ebb and the flow. It's the ability to perceive, it's to perceive it, the ability to both perceive and observe, you know, because the perceiving that has an observation aspect as
That's
well, but then you're also casting somewhat of a judgment versus the observation that just sits. So in magic, I had went through like putting myself through a few different like modules of it, like learning what magic was, the banishing rituals, the different oils, and all the stuff that I had to like kind of create for a foundation. And this I all kind of did myself with books because I had no one at this time. I was going through like a moment of solitude. Um, and then, you know, it just became this kind of thing where you wonder, what are these entities that I'm pulling into my life? Like, why am I calling in like earth, fire, wind, water? And, you know, and then starting to see those elements within myself to ultimately become, you know, the wand that's here and now versus having to pull in all these different elements and resources. So then when it became magic was like, you know, how am I casting this image on the world? Like what am I doing about the things that I'm seeing? What am I saying? How am I feeling? What am I projecting out into the future from the past? How am I dissolving these issues? So like the work that I do for others, it all started with me because I had to, you know, like dissolve condition and then recondition while also remaining in the place of the observer. And then that's when, you know, everything became literally magic because it just all snapped into place that there was no other way to explain it.
No, that's a really great point, especially perception and observation. Definitely an experience. I totally agree. And I like how you said when you apply it to yourself,
Cool, right on.
it snapped into gear. That's one thing that I feel I've been having to go back to the drawing board in when it comes to magic, because I'm so focused on magic as just a concept and an idea and something that's experienced. But there is the whole spell casting, there's the candles, there's the oils.
Yeah.
What was that process like for you? What's good advice as far as anyone who's aspiring to get into magic, as far as or being magic, you know, as far as dealing with those aspects?
For anyone getting into magic or wanting to literally be magic, I would say like at first we have to like really put ourselves in the position of like, I guess, of knowing, right? And in that knowing, that's just a grounding to know like, okay, well, this is what I said, and what do I know about what I said? Like, so the tone of what I said when I got angry, yes, I was angry, and how can I be truthful to align with that so that I'm not trying to like make it something else other than what it is or what it was or what it will be. And then it's about like being able to, especially in magic, ritual, because you don't want to be bringing something in or casting something out without bringing something in. So it's both the banishing and the evoking. And then it's more so the journey of magic in itself, even going through all the oils, the incense, using all the elements like the water, blood, using all these different things. It's really about being aligned with truth, because if you can say own up to your process, own up to the moment, you can't go wrong. Like anything that presents itself to you, like whether it's an element in your life, another entity, a being, an energy, whatever it is, if you can hold your truth, like of who you are in whatever you're doing, however you perceive it, good or bad, then things are going to work out in a way to give you that result, to know that you can go, you know, say the next step or angle. I always say, I say avenues of approach, but here I'll say angles of approach. There's many different angles to the avenues, you know? And a lot of people will get scared. They'll get scared going through this process to really be wondering, like, what am I seeing? What am I doing? And am I going crazy, right? And like, let's looking at the contrast of the norm, conformity, then yeah, we are going crazy because we're doing things that most people don't have the awareness or the guts to really step into, because it's truer to life than anything else that we're doing. Like waking up and going to work, that's a construct that most people have no idea where it came from or why it's evident in their life or how to reverse it. Um, but the magic in itself, for someone to get grounded in that, it does like primarily mean being grounded in ourselves and truth.
And somebody had asked if magic was more effective, why don't more people use it? And I think you answered it. A lot of people just aren't as aware of
Yeah.
what they can even do with their personal
Yeah.
magic. So I totally agree with
Yeah.
that.
And also, yeah, also, like we're all using magic, right? Like we're all using and doing magic. Primarily because like if you have what we consider like black magic, gray magic, and white magic. So you could say black that most people would consider to be evil, white magic the good, and then the gray magic the in between. So the vast majority of people are world, because their wires are so crossed by the construct of what's someone else throughout the entirety of their lives. They're all using that gray magic because they don't have that like they don't have that personal mechanism of making a real decision that's grounded in truth. So like they might say like I want this, but and then cause all of these rationalizations to like go about like another way of getting what they want as opposed to being direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And to go direct to say, yeah, to be either black magic or white magic, but never the in between, because the in between that causes what most people have.
Oh,
What's up?
so gray magic is what makes the magic less strong because you're not necessarily either or. That's fascinating. I never thought of it like
Yeah.
that.
It's diluting.
For sure. Okay. So that's very interesting. And as far as the different types of magic, it's usually just going to be between those three, right? Like the primarily black dark ones, and then the white. I mean, what do you feel about elemental magic as well? And what's your favorite type of magic?
Yeah.
Like go that route.
Well, yeah, there's like so many different terms for magic and people going the different angles of how to use it. But like let's say like some people might consider like people might say that certain levels of masonry are like bad. So that would be fall into the category of like black magic, or some people might say that like charitable giving is a form of like white magic, right? Um, Versus like the person who like who's using gray magic, right? Like they might be like Christian, going to church and abiding by things every given Sunday, and then they go to work and like they're talking shit, they're drinking, they're cheating on their spouses, like so they're the ones who would fall into that gray magic. But the like Kabbalah, a lot of the esoteric stuff, those things are all just terms for the different angles of how you would approach magic.
Nice. I like that. It's a more realistic view. It's not like magic is fairy dust and sprinkles. You're making it to consequence of people's actions. I love that. That's really dope. So
Yeah, cool.
my next question, and this is, I think, so invaluable. People like you who have already been through the whole, even if just for a little bit, marriage experience, what
Yeah.
what was that like for you? What did you take away from being married, and what advice do you have for people who aren't sure whether to get into marriage or not?
Oh yeah. Ooh. Marriage. That's a big one,
Yeah.
because now you're talking about changing people's lives. I mean, if we get into marriage, right? Like what I would think of now as opposed to then, like before when I was married, I would say now it's like, why would you want to take something that's supposed to be like divinely given, this relationship, and place it under law? Because now you're playing, yeah, like, and now you're placing it under basically like you're creating like an atmosphere, or like how would I guess, like let's say like a dome serving both like the God that you get married under, like whoever you call into place to hold that thing together, and then you're also putting it under like law. So now you're really putting that thing into, like, are supposed to not be founded on, right? Because when you meet someone, like who's to say that this thing has to go this route of like, we have like a ceremony, and we do this and we do that, and it's got to go through this and that, and then if things don't go right, I've got to give this person half of my life, right? And some people might want to do that, but we start looking at like the whole machine of like, you're supposed to get married, and then it's like asking the questions of, why am I getting married so young? Why am I getting married at all? Why do I have to call in all of these people from like families that I would never speak to? Why do I have to have this party that's costing me thousands of dollars when ultimately the relationship doesn't serve anyone but the two individuals? And then it's like, why am I supposed to like have a house that I'm paying for forever, that even if I do own, I'm still going to pay the property taxes on? And why am I expected to do all of these obligatory things, right? All of these things that are obligations that take you further from the foundation of love, right? They take you out of love, and they put you into like play. They put you into the things that are not having to do with individuals at all. So I mean, like, so marriage. Um, I would say for the people who are looking to like really dive into marriage, being married, depending on how much you love that person, if you love yourself, then you really want to do the work of finding out, or at least like some research about what marriage is truly founded on. But most people aren't going to go that direction of like diving that deep. So then we might come down to the dollar. This is what I always do, right? When it comes down to clients, I always say like, let's get down to the numbers of like, how much is the ring going to cost? How much is the party going to cost?
You're so Capricorn.
And like how much, yeah. Right. Right. Because
That's
like
so
if they can't perceive it, yeah, if they can't perceive it like in a way of like what will happen, then you got to show them what it really is. And then it's like, and then they start to open up to like, oh shit, like now it's like, now I'm so in debt before I even like live my life, you know?
Wow. See, I'm so glad I asked you that, because it's a very crushing realization, where it really does test how much you really want. So yeah, spiritual partnership, like MK said, I love the whole notion between getting the law into something that's inherently supposed to be so sacred. And that's definitely
Yeah.
what got me wondering, like, would I get married in a church? Would I get married in a law if I even got married? So I'm glad I'm hearing this, because it makes me take that a lot much more seriously. And the whole notion of spending all that money, which you should want to spend if it's that great of a day for you, but still, going into that knowing that, as opposed to not really expecting that, it's so much more. Because a lot of people think marriage is just, going to the court of law, getting married, and then having a wedding, and then, living your life. And then you realize all this stuff, along the way. What was the zodiac sign of your partner, your ex-partner, by the way, if you don't mind?
Oh, she was, I think she was in November. I think she's a Scorpio.
Scorpio, okay. Like late November or mid-November?
She was mid-November. She's definitely a Scorpio because,
Yeah.
that reign of what they say, like a Scorpio woman, like how they scar you, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll tell you this, right? Um, like that whole thing, right? And I'll be honest, like there were some things that I could have done much better because I had to go through my own hell of like figuring out what my life was about, right? I went through a hard time. Um, so like she responded to things in maybe like the worst way that I could imagine, to where like a lot of it was cause for how my life like had changed, but then again, like it was also a part of the greater vision. So like it took me a while to like really understand that, because you have to forgive when people like I do things out of anger.
Yeah.
um But then again, it's like, like that whole process, that whole time, like when we started to move in different directions, like man, like I guess a lot of times like we're just it's like she's in the world, and I'm like trying to like get the message there. I'm like, hey, like open your eyes to see this, and it's like it's like being at war almost, right? To be honest, a lot of times going through that, it was like being at war. You just try to get this thing into someone else's vibration, but when they don't want to open up, it's like you're talking to a brick wall,
And I can't blame, honestly, Scorpio and Capricorn, I've noticed, is a common pairing for relationships at first too. So if anything, it's a very karmic partnership. There's surely great karma you both, learn from each other, which definitely for what it's worth. So much appreciated for that. You dropped some really great gems. What got you into your spiritual journey? How did you start Literally Magic? What is Literally Magic for those who want to know what your business or what your practice really is?
Yeah, well, Literally Magic, other thing, right, where I was just speaking and like taking photos and just getting like really exploring creativity. And then Literally Magic had come as like I was speaking with a friend, and then it just came out. Like it just came out as I was talking about like these same elements of what we're talking about now. And it stuck in my mind. I wrote it down, and even then, it wasn't like months later until I had the idea. And then the idea was at first of like creating a website, sharing all the information, spiritual people who were like in personal development, and like a real high-minded, open-minded, like fitness aspect, food. So I went wild with that. I was like sharing things. I had this one woman in Costa Rica who was doing live videos every Sunday on the website. And I just ran with it. I did that for a while until I started to see that like the return on the value wasn't that great. And you can probably tell that like because of how ambitious I was, it wasn't working for me. I had to see more return, like time investment, right? Didn't even have to be money, but the attention was there. But I still wasn't getting like the reactions, or like what would I say, like participation, like the comments and that kind of stuff. I needed to feel that. So then I just turned inward and I said, okay, so I know that I have the ability to like do this for other people. Why not for myself? So then I just started to like create things out of Literally Magic, like saying, right, I was like teaching myself graphic editing at the time. So then I said, I'm going to create things that I feel have like multiple layers of understanding so that people can receive a message, right? Whether that be like channeled or however, when they see it, they'll be able to get something from it that is for them in that moment. So then I just continued to grow. And then like I had like a name come into my mind. So then I changed my name, like embodiment of what was like happening. So I let that just happen. And then with Literally Magic as it is now, it's more like being somewhat of like I would almost say it's like an omniscient, but I don't want to say that I'm a know-it-all either, because I only know what I need to know for those who come to me or see my material, right? Like those are the people who are going to be in their path that are through me, and they're going to be moving on thereafter. So I serve those who need what I have, right? So that would be either inspiration, motivation, coaching, really anything that takes them from point A to point B and thereafter.
Okay, that's real. And
yeah, so basically it's like changing lives.
and that's kind of more or less what inspired you to do what you're doing now. And personally, yeah, from experience, I recently just had a reading or a conversation with Sage. It was totally awesome. So like I'll say,
Thank you.
yeah, I'm really grateful. personally, from my experience, I was able to gain a nice chronology of where I came from and where I want to take things. So it's a really good session for those of you who are wanting to build your game plan and have someone who knows what they're doing actually guide you along those steps very magically and practically. All right. So outside of that, let's play the 3 questions game. Before though, could you kind of embellish more and explain again what inspired you to make this website? Like, I mean, you spoke about how you wanted to turn inwards, but how did you know this was going to be your spiritual path that you're embarking on?
Didn't. I had no idea, because my goal was just to create, and I did have a knowing. Even when I was homeless, I had a knowing that everything would be okay. It always is, right? I still could see the sun. Everything is always okay, because even if I don't have something that I think I want in the moment, I still always have what I need, and that thing that I want is always coming. So when it came to like the website, I remember at first, I got into LA, I went to a meditation retreat, got out here, and I got a buddy from Long Island who's been out here for a long time. He got really big on YouTube videos. And he just mentioned it to me. He said, okay, like, so you're here now. He gave me, he wrote this whole grid where to go, pick all that kind of stuff. And he said, you need to have a hub. It's like whatever you create, you need to have one space that you hold everything so that people can find you. You can store your information. And even then, like the website was a different name, but I continued to evolve it. I just continued to upgrade my artwork and let the channel come through.
Super awesome. All right.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. It's been a journey.
All righty. Hold on one moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna play the 3 questions game. And that's so we'll just take turns asking each other questions. You'll ask me a question, I'll answer. I'll ask you a question, you'll answer, and then we'll go back 2 more rounds. So yeah, based on that, you can go first. Then it could be about anything too.
Hey, say it again. It's like broke up a little bit.
No, it's all good. We'll just take turns asking each other questions. Any questions?
Cool.
So you can go first, and then I'll answer it, and I'll ask you, and then you'll answer it, and you'll ask me.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. My bad. It's breaking up, but you could go first.
Cool. So I was gonna ask, what's like for you? What was your your biggest awakening with astrology? What was like something that you've seen or had like felt that made you like dive into it deeper?
Oh, great question. So honestly, what really did that for me, because I was watching horoscopes before. I don't know what the hell got me into watching horoscopes. I just started doing it 2011, 2012, and I was watching Astrological and Miss Marie. I don't think her name was Miss Marie, but also I forgot her name. It was this older lady too. But once I got an actual chart reading, and I had got my natal chart interpreted by Chris Witecki, and then also David Palmer, that just completely opened my mind completely. I had no idea that a chart reading could be that in depth and accurate. So completely opened my mind. Yeah, it was super enlightening. It was all happening too at the same time, right when my destiny was starting to, and Jupiter was in that. So it definitely allowed me to realize that there's so much more to life than I'm aware of. And I just started studying and learning the aspects and teaching myself ASAP. The rest is history, at least as far as there. But yeah, it was one of the best readings I've ever had. It was really fun.
It changed your life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was important because
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering what do I do with my life? Like I thought Jesus was the way. I don't know what to believe in, and it's just kind of like
Yeah.
got me right there.
Yeah.
Um,
You got
what,
pulled out the matrix.
yeah, that's a great way to put it. And I was when I was watching the most conspiracy videos ever, conspiracy theory videos too. So I
Yeah,
was
I love conspiracy videos.
yeah. They're so fun. I like this sample. Actually, that's my question. What's your favorite conspiracy theory? And I don't even say theory. What's one conspiracy theory that started off as a theory but ended up being real and not a theory?
Oh man. Um, I would say as far as okay, I'm gonna go out on that whole deep end, getting into something a little bit deeper. But I remember, like you might think that you see things, right? Or people say that they see things when they're doing magic or throughout their whole lives. Or people are just able to see certain things, but we wonder like what is the ability to make that intentional until I had like done it for myself because you hear about say um, like the shadows or these dark entities like Bins or Jin, right? And how they enter your life, right? And I wouldn't even say it's like I guess it's a conspiracy theory for some people, but now I can't even look at it in that way because it's just a part of life. But I remember it was one was a ritual in my room, right, when I was staying with my dad, and it was like right towards the end, but I had this entity appear before me, and it was like the one thing that I needed for like my own confirmation, just so that I can have that that burned in my mind of like, okay, what I'm doing is real, like these other things are out there, right? And now I can like see them. But it was that one thing where like, oh, here's the other side too, right? I remember like I saw that,
Wow.
then it was like trying to figure out like what exactly it was, and then like finding all these photos online of like this thing that like goes back to I don't know how many freaking centuries, and then like no one's really talking about it kind of thing versus like these conspiracy theory videos.
Wow, that's deep. So you saw one of these entities, which makes total sense too. Um,
Yeah. And some people are walking around. I guess like everyone has something passing through when it comes to energy, but some people just let these things take them over.
yeah,
And I guess they don't have the will or the knowing to do anything else because that's who they believe that they are. But when
yeah,
you can separate the energy from the entity, you can start to like see that area of discord, and then it becomes a little bit clearer over time as you work on it. So I ask you too, like, have you seen anything like that? Have you seen anything that kind of like took you back for a while?
that's a good question. So I've recently realized that when it comes to seeing spirits, that's a very Piscean and Sagittarian quality, like to be able to see the unseen in that sense. So I've always considered myself a bit spiritually blind, but I will say recently, maybe like a couple, yes, I have. I even made this very crazy Facebook video completely like dramatizing it and making light of it. This happened, I think, the beginning of this year or last year, but my fan literally just started turning on. Like
Uh-huh.
it's still there. It was the first official paranormal experience I ever had. It on the surface, like when I told and showed people, people are just like, "Oh, it's an electrical short." Like it just kind of. But there's no way I'll turn
Yeah.
like that because, like, even in the video that I had, like the fan, like a few months ago, I had actually broke the fan. Like I wanted to turn it on and I pulled it too big and like I pulled
Yeah.
it hard and it broke off. So like I was mad because it was hot in the summer, and like I wasn't getting any air because the fan wasn't working. So literally, my fan just turns on, and it happened before too. Like it just kind of paranormally moved, and I went to the bathroom and I was like, "Why is the fan on?" And then I come back and the fan literally turns on, and it's moving slow. And I get the camera, and then it stops, and then it goes the other way, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And it starts going back. What is this fucking presence? And to this day, when I turn it on, it just turns on. So I keep it there just to remind me, okay, the paranormal is real. I'm sure at this point it's electrical short or whatever, but I know it was caused by like something not normal. And
it's different.
Yeah, it's super different. I'm glad I saw the video.
Yeah, you know, like, and with those videos too, it's like this is what I got from like the videos, right? Because people will take videos of like different things, but like you can never really tell like what's real or fake. But there's an energy, like there's an energy, say, to either like the video or the person, or sometimes you just gotta be there. Sometimes you gotta put yourself in the seat of the creator to see that thing, and there's an energy to tell.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was my biggest worry. I was like, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Like this could so be fake. Like, what if I'm just faking? I tried my best to make it look like some people saw a fan move on its own, and the fan button, the fan actually has a switch where you have to switch it for it to actually turn left and right. So for it to just do it on its own, it was weird. And it's never done it like that.
Yeah. And it's like that kind of too, because I had wondered, right? This is like another side of it, but I remember I wondered, I went like, okay, so like if it's me here, right? Or if it's not just me here, I said, what's the difference between that what else being able to do what it does versus me being able to like possess that same energy, right? Because you wonder, like, you know, if we look at the world being magic, it's like obviously we do have that power, because like we're talking now and like none of my machines are connected to wires, you know. Like somewhere along the lines, like there's just this conscious belief that these things connect in a certain way. And I can see you there, you can see me here. So I said, okay, how am I manifesting my life with that same energy? And then it's like, you know, then I had to step back from the egoic side of it and say, like, they do what they do in their way, I do what I do in my way. And like, you know, kind of like letting go while also working on that mechanism as well.
That's real. Nice. So
yeah,
my question for you, my second question is, one of my blocks to magic, and I know a lot of it has to do with my moon being in Capricorn. I feel like I have to, and then part of it's Gemini too, because the way I think about it, but I feel like I have to control every aspect to magic. Like I want to magic to me being able to like want A and B to happen and C happens instantly. And it's like, how do you let go of that? I mean, you just let go of it, right? But like, how do you deal with it?
You gotta let it go.
That's it, really? Just letting it go, right? Like letting go of having to control it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to, because that whole holding on to something, like you can call that stress, right? And if you're holding on to something like hard enough for long enough, like you're giving it more stress, more and more stress when this thing, right, it's physical and it's also non-physical. So you got to give it both energies enough to like give it the attention that's needed to like prime that energy into that thing, like a vision, and then just letting it go, because like the moment in itself, if you want that result and it's not here yet, you got to give it the time and the space to come. Because remember, like it's us, it being here like as the people that we are, and then it's also that other thing that has the duty to do whatever it does, right? Fortunately, like we're also bound into that as well, but we've got to also just let it be, the stress. You know, I found that for myself, that like bringing stress into anything, it causes problems. It causes a lot of problems. Like if you think about like stress in a vehicle, if you got stress on the belt of a vehicle in the timing chain, it'll break. Thing with our minds, the more stressed out we become, the further we find ourselves from truth. truth, start to break apart till we got to start all over again, you know?
True. That's real. That's really good answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I got another question for you too.
Yeah.
So with the letting go part, where do you find it exactly like toughest to let go? Like, is it in the expectation? Is it the process?
This is your second question for me? This is number two? Oh, damn. Did I ask you a question first?
What's up?
Did I ask you a question first?
Oh, you said repeat the question.
No. Did I ask you the first question?
Oh, I said like where do you find it toughest to let go?
To let go? Oh, great question. No, my bad. I was just wondering, did I ask you the first question or did you ask me the first question? I already forgot. I think I asked you the
Oh, I
first
think
question.
I asked you the first question. Yeah.
You asked me the first question. Okay. And then I asked you about magic. And then okay. So this is your second question. All right. Gotcha. So letting go for me, honestly, what was the hardest to let go is this attachment to being in this very unrealistic relationship setting, kind of having that fantasy imaginary GF that's real. And
Yeah.
that's been my biggest block, because I know if I let it go, it'll actually be made real. And it's like I want it so bad I don't want it. It's weird. It's like I got so used to fantasizing about it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh no, I didn't realize I was holding on to it so that I don't get my unrealistic expectations disappointed at some level. Even though it's still something I really want. And then outside of that, I noticed that it's something that I apply to other things that I really want, as far as like having things to be a certain way and trying to control the details of something, even though that's the last thing I can do. So yeah, it's just been
Yeah.
having, yeah. I guess the whole soulmate twin flame thing for the longest has been hard to let go, because I was lying to myself about how I was hanging on to it. And
Right on.
yeah, but it's definitely cooler now to just let be at, and just what you said about letting go too, so true.
Yeah. Have you ever tried acting?
Oh, that's my passion. I love acting. I haven't been acting
Okay.
even before
Yeah.
rapping. Oh, go ahead.
Uh-huh.
No, I was
Oh,
gonna
no,
say,
because I remember like you say you did. But I remember you saying that you did background, but you've done acting too, like straight up like stage, anything like, you know.
honestly, the last time I officially acted was like in grade school, like whenever we did school plays, and I somehow got like some lead roles because of that. But yeah, acting, I'm into spoken word and rapping, but my main passion is acting. Like I
Cool.
would love to um get to a point where I'm doing headshots again and going to auditions. I just never really took that part seriously, but it's something that I'm totally interested in getting once I get my portfolio in there.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, like I'll give you a note on that too, because well, first with acting, that was like the one thing that helped me let go. Because like when I went into acting at first, like seriously, I remember it was like being coached, and it kept telling me I gotta like let go in this way, and I was trying to craft all these scenes, and it wasn't working. And I had a really good teacher. This guy, he was on a bunch of soap operas, but I remember like he told me to like not make it so mechanical and to
Mhm.
just let it go. Like allow like the part of you that's going to do what it does to just rip. Um, and I remember like the whole process too with acting, because most people are always saying like you got to do headshots, you got to go on auditions and da 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 da. But then we wonder like how is it that these other people are like living that life without having done any of it, right? Um, yeah, right. And ultimately, it's the energy. It's just having that flow of saying that you're gonna do it no matter what, you know.
Okay. That's so real. So energy. I like that. Okay. So
Yeah.
just really, so my second question for you is what's the best way to build that energy? What's the best way to harness? Because that's another thing I've been really obsessed with, and it's been hard to let go. Like I see these animes with people like harnessing their
Yeah.
life force. It's like, how do I focus that and just instantly get energized to do workouts and like not some
Yeah.
gas? Yeah. I would try
Yeah.
doing it, but still.
Right on, right on. I know what I do as far as like energy goes. Um, I, I don't believe that it's sleep or anything like that. I mean, I think that it has to do with sleep,
Mhm.
but it's like, let's say it's fire. Like energy is fire because when you get passionate about something, like nothing else matters. Like you could be like laying on the ground, passed out, like fucking, like falling apart. And then as soon as you get passionate about something, like you'll jump 10 feet off the floor in a direction that you want to go. Um, so for me, it's like it's continually finding all the things that I'm passionate about, meditation, so that I can dive deep into the source of what those things are. Um, and also it's love too, like love in so many different ways, because let's say now my beloved, right, like she and I, we work on that, or we're always in that vibration of being more loving, because if you're open here, then now you're a channel for that thing that it's already in you and it wants to come through, but the construct of how we've been like led to believe otherwise continues to like stop that train of energy. So yes, I
Sure.
would say it's like, yeah, meditation, passion, and love. But love reigns over all of that, because if you love yourself, you'll have infinite energy to do anything.
True that. True that. What sign is your beloved, by the way?
That's what I was gonna say earlier too. She has the same birth date of my ex-spouse.
No way.
Yeah, same birthday, and it's like the relationship is a totally different. It's a totally different energy. I'm talking about like it's totally different than anything that ever was in my life at all. But they having the same birthday, it's two different worlds entirely. It's like when I went through that transition, it's like I jumped on the new earth.
So meditation, fire, and love. I love that. Or what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So like for you, let me ask you that third question. So what is your journey for finding a mate or twin flame been like so far?
Oh my gosh, it's been very emasculating and embarrassing because I've realized, in a great way, I'm grateful. I've realized that I've been the number one self-sabotager towards getting this. It's actually taught me more about myself than, which is, I mean, supposed to happen, right? But it's taught me that there's a part of myself that really does not want to be in a relationship. And this was so revealing because I have, for the longest time, felt that that's the number one thing that I've wanted forever. And it really helped me kind of realize, the level of maturity that's needed for this. It really helped me realize, do I want the companionship in relation to the actual sharing of myself? I think I thought that I'd be able to be in a relationship and then still be my reclusive self that is shut off from the world. And I'm realizing more than ever the reason why, I might have to enter this, whether romantically or not, just like sharing the life and like actually, growing up and being mature to the capacity where you can share that and being able to be vulnerable. I realized, like, as much
Yeah.
as I wanted that, I guess I didn't as much as I won't say that I don't want to, but it's just really humbled me as far as like this process and like how deeply do I really, want to connect. And then on top of that,
Uh-huh.
um, you know, Okay, Rafa Mama, I see you. On top of that, you know what I mean? Uh, sharing psychic connections with other people, every time that I would really make the ego decision and be like, screw this, I'm just going to be single. Like spirit would kind of rope me back, like show me a sign or
Yep.
synchronicity. It's like, no, it's there's a mystical aspect to this too. It's not just about you, it has to be bigger than you. So honestly, that's it's a lot of letting go I have to do. I think I've realized my biggest block into to manifesting that is 100% me. And until I kind of like let go and surrender to it, then I'll
Yeah.
just be blocked. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
great. Well,
y- you mind if I give you like a note on that?
yeah, please.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
because like let's say when people say like twin flame, like what I like to re-spin that as, because the twin flame journey, that's been so conceptualized that people aren't able to like see it for what it is. When we look at like the truth of what we are, that other person is a reflection. So like that being the reflection, if we're not able to hide anything from that mirror, knowing that even if we can't see the image like behind our backs that's on the other side of the mirror, it knows because we know, right? Like you can't hide anything. So it's the elements about ourselves that we feel we need to be revealed, right? Which would be like what needs to be revealed about ourselves to ourselves. What do we truly need to heal? Which for the most part could mean like, doing that personal work of like, where can I like open up this chamber more so that I'm not feeling as if there's something out there that I want that I don't already have. So you start looking into those aspects of it, and then this is where the magic happens, right? As soon as you feel whole, as soon as you feel whole with yourself, and you'll find this with anyone who's in like a happy relationship, right? And usually they're in happy relationships and not marriages because they know what a marriage truly is. But when they're in a happy relationship, they go through this thing where they're like, as soon as I accepted myself, this person just came into my life, right? Like I say that about my mate. She says that about me, and I hear it from all kind of people who are dealing with somewhat of the same energy. But it's like as soon as you like accept yourself in such a way that you matter, like you matter first, and then it's like the world falling into place thereafter. And it's not even like a selfish thing, but it's like if you're not here, then like what's the purpose of your life, So it's like as soon as you take care of you and your life, all of a sudden this being, like I guess person, just shows up, and they tend to be your reflection. And depending on how you manifest them, if you visualize that, like because you are in that vibration for yourself, like they have like a glow, and they have like a certain like it's like they're like your dream come true. I know a lot of it, yeah, a lot of it sounds like fantasy, right? But at the same time, it's like when you are meeting your reflection, that other thing, in such a way that you can like love yourself just as much as you want to love anyone else, like boom, like there they are. And we're always meeting that other mate as our reflection in whatever facet of life that we're in. They have something for us. But if our reflection is hiding something behind the image, right, that we don't want to show to the mirror, then they too are going to have something behind the veil. And then going through the relationship of trying to figure out what that is, that's where you get all those problems, because people got their hands tied behind their back. Not always do they want to show you what's in their hand, because they might act like they're showing you, but then it's like they're not holding it here, they're holding it behind their back still. Every time they show you a hand, but you've got to open up to the world and letting go and just like revealing everything you got.
That's so deep. Okay. Because sometimes I could feel like I'm whole, but that doesn't mean that I'm truly accepting of myself and just in general. So I like how you said that, because it's like um it's something that's not just mental, it's totally all encompassing. So I'll totally keep that in my heart, and take that. And my last question for you is, what are your three favorite zodiac signs, and what zodiac signs give you the most challenge?
Uh, okay. Okay. Three favorite zodiac signs. I'd say Capricorn, because it's the one that I came into this world as. Scorpio, because that's my reflection. Um, Let me see. And then beyond that, I would say like a Taurus, because Taurus I found to be people who are almost like they're almost like my companions. They're like the ones who like I've seen them be like my companions, where they've been like almost like the bull with the horns, right? Where they're willing to fight, but at the same point in time they have like a soft center for me.
Okay.
And then what was the other part of that?
The other part is the three that give you the most challenge.
Three that give me the most challenge. Scorpio, because that is my reflection. So it is meeting me, even in the times when I want to like kind of like go inside and do my own work. Um, Leo, I've had a difficult time with Leos in the past, to where like, let's say like some mates that I've had, or even some friends, when it came to Leo, a lot of times, and not so much now because things have changed, but before it was something where like the energy would like be drawn out, right, to where it was like caring, and then they would like do that persuasive or that seducing thing of like pulling it back, and I would see that game a lot from Leos. Um, Another sign that give me most challenging. Um, I don't even, I can't even like think of one right now. I'd almost say maybe like at one point in time a Gemini. I got a lot of mixed messages.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we
that's
do that.
probably. What about for you?
We do that mixed messaging. Honestly, it changes a lot. To be honest, I can't really answer that right now. As far as like my favorite or the one with the most challenge, I've gotten to a point where like I've realized each sign is like totally a different expression. So
Uh-huh.
it's really hard to like pick now because normally I think it's because of my changeable nature. Like it literally will change every month. I'll say.
Yep.
Um, so I honestly don't have a favorite now. I'm at a point where I want to really get to. Now that I've really gotten to know who I am for the first time ever, I feel like I have to go back and get to know all the signs. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah. So I'll totally
Yep.
find it if I ever meet like a reflection too, or someone, or this person that comes through. I feel like that'll definitely, help me come through. Jacqueline, I have a love-hate relationship with Gemini myself, and I'm Gemini, so it is what it is. But the last question I want to ask for you to close this out is: how can people reach you? What services do you offer? For those of you who have asked already and are not aware, if you want to contact his website and the YouTube, it's in the description box below. But yeah,
Awesome. Thank you.
no problem, bro. But yeah, how can people reach you and what do you offer?
Yeah, well, of course, I'll say that Instagram is my biggest following because it's the easiest thing for me to do, and I could just like upload, back to people. So Instagram, literally magic, and I'm much more responsive there. To include Facebook, Sage Law. I think it's like facebook.com/I am Sage Law. I'm pretty responsive there too, but Instagram is the primary thing. Other than that, I mean, I do have a store too. It's shopliterallymagic.com. Right now, I'm just doing the women's crop tops, and they're all like, most of them are sold out, to be honest. But that's like the brand that I am building when it comes to retail, introducing some menswear over the next month, doing those designs now as we speak. So yeah, in order to get a hold of me, the best thing to do would be Instagram. Like Instagram by far is like the easiest thing for me.
Nice. Yeah, I'm adding you right now.
Cool. I'm gonna add you back too.
Sweet. Okay, so that's what's up. Instagram, you could reach him at, y'all. Definitely invest in some sessions with this dude. It's totally worth it. You know how Capricorn do. And we're gonna end this call right here. We went a little bit over, but it totally did not feel like an hour. It's pretty quick. Sort of.
Cool. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah. So thank you once again, Sage, for joining us. Totally dope call. The people in the chat loved you too. And
awesome.
y'all stay tuned until next Peace Talk. And